Fred MacGuffin Reviews. Pulse, 1988. This is a MacGuff spoiler review. Spoiler warning, spoiler warning. Okay, yeah, horror slash sci-fi. Directed by Paul Golding. And he hasn't directed much. He wrote this and he directed it. And he's also directed Herbie. And he also wrote Beat Street. So yeah, this is a good effort. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't do more after this, and I'm not sure if this was a big hit in the day in 1988, and I doubt it though, because it's got a malignant, menacing pulse of electricity, and it's living and it's intelligent and it's a pulse of electricity and it's causing trouble. It's like a gremlin of electricity. This is weird. This is a weird idea, a weird concept. It's like your appliances. The mean pulse is getting into your appliances and causing trouble, and turning on things that shouldn't be turned on. For one example, it turns on a skill saw, and the screw hits the skill saw, and it hits our hero Cliff de Young, who plays Bill, in the head. Things like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this some more. Okay. We have David, played by Joey Lawrence, and he's coming to visit his dad, played by Cliff de Young, Bill, and his stepmother Roxanne Hart, and she plays Ellen. So yeah, he's visiting from Colorado. He's spending time with his dad, and obviously he lives with his mum in Colorado. So yeah, we see him arriving at the airport to visit his dad. His dad collects him. His dad has recently moved into a new house, and yeah, it's a bigger house than what he used to live in, and it's got all the modern appliances. It looks great. It's got all the cool gadgets. The gadgets are turning on us. Okay, so Cliff de Young, you may know him from a lot of 80s movies. Flight of the Navigator, FX. I've seen him in Harry and Tonto recently. Shock Treatment, Glory, The Hunger, The Craft, The Substitute. I mean, he's been in a lot of decent flicks. Yeah, some good flicks. He's you'll know him when you see him if you've watched a lot of TV or movies in the 80s. And does a fine job here. He's a good bad guy, and he's can do a good job in being a good guy too. Now his son Joey Lawrence, David, you might have seen him in Radioland Murders, a Goofy movie. Did the voice in that, a voice in that. Oliver and Co. voice acting. Blossom TV, and Brotherly Love, and Melissa and Joey. So yeah, he's a good child actor in this. Getting a child actor that doesn't annoy you. You know what I mean? Annoying child actor, but he's good in this, very good. And he's our skeptic. He's our paranoid sort of. He's a paranoid chap in this, and he knows something's going on. He can feel that something bad is happening. His stepmother is Ellen, and she's played by Roxanne Hart. I know her from Highlander, but she's also in Chicago Hope, License to Wed, Letter from Iwo Jima, The Verdict, Oh God, You Devil, The Good Girl, and she's done a lot of TV work. So it's nice to see her in this, and she does a good job. All our main actors do a good job in this. So I forgot to say, at the very start of this, we see Bill's neighbour has some sort of crazy trouble in his house. The cops are called. He gets killed. We just hear and sort of vaguely see through the curtains what's happening. It looks like there's a fight going on, or there's something strange happening in his house. So yeah, that's the big sort of clue about what's to come for our family. And Yeah, we have a kid in the neighborhood played by Matthew Lawrence called Stevie. He's telling David about what's happened in the recently in that house, and he was saying that something flew out of the, what do you call it? It's like uh, it's in the sink and it grinds up vegetables and it, but it flew out and hit the woman of the house and killed her. Something flew out, a bit of metal or so. Yeah, some strange goings on are happening, and next door to the, I think his name is Howard Jordan, to the neighbour across the road. Oh yeah, Matthew Lawrence, Stevie. He was also in Mrs. Doubtfire, The Hot Chick, Brotherly Love TV, Boy Meets World, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So he's the friend of David in the neighbourhood. We also meet David. Eventually, he wants to go and have a look inside this house, of the house of horror, that these terrible things have happened, and he goes in and he meets an old. He's called the old man. He's working on the house. He's a contractor. He sort of jumps down from the ceiling above and scares David and starts talking about, yeah, sort of mysterious, sort of scary old man played by Charles Tyner. And you may have seen him. He's been in a lot of stuff. Once you see him, you'll know him if you've watched a lot of TV in the 80s. Harold and Maude, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Jeremiah Johnson, Cool Hand Luke, Evil Speak, The Outlaw Josie Wales, Monte Walsh, Lawman, The Cowboys, and he's done a lot of New York. And he's always your sort of bad guy, sort of menacing, sort of annoying, sort of, yeah, not yeah, yeah. He plays the spooky old guy like me. He's something similar to me. Spooky old guy, perfect for him, or a bad guy. And he's we find out later that he's sort of living away from electricity. He doesn't deal with lights, and he's sort of living. What would you say? He's a survivalist nearly. He likes kerosene. He doesn't like all the gadgets and electricity. He's our, what would you say, soothsayer. He's telling everyone that electricity's bad, and modern living is bad. So be careful. Whoa, be careful, everybody. That sort of guy. Beware the Ides of March, and yeah. Later on, Ellen talks to him about what she said to David, because he kind of freaks David out a bit more than he actually is, or actually, and he says, look, unplug everything. Yeah, he's basically saying electricity's dangerous. This pulse is dangerous. He's sort of got a little handle on everything that's going on. Uh, Ellen comes a crapper in the shower. Now this is what you're getting here. This is Ellen is having the shower. We see the heater of the water, sort of. You see the little special effects of the pulse sort of rising up the temperature, and she can't turn off the shower because it gets too hot. The water gets too hot. She gets scalded. She can't get out the door of the shower because it's wedged shut for some reason. I don't think the pulse wedged the door of the shower shut, but anyway, she couldn't get out. So you're getting accidents like that happening, and sort of David doesn't want to go in the house after this happens, because he had a little scare as well in the garage that gas was released into the basement and slash garage, and he uses the car to break out of the garage, and there's a later find out there's a crack in the pipe and gas has escaped, and he was choking, and he uses the car which was in the garage to ram the garage door. So yeah, it's like Poltergeist without the really scary ghosts. Our scare here is these sort of special effecty electricity pulses, and yeah, so the concept annoys me a bit, and so yeah, we get to our big end of movie battle with the pulse, with the gremlin pulse. And first of all, Bill goes into the house. He goes back into the house for some reason. I don't know why. Can't tell him anything. And as I said earlier, he gets hit by this bolt from a chainsaw or a skill saw, and he gets all sorts of these. It feels like he's Mr. Bean. All these strange occurrences happen to him in the house, and David goes in after him, after his dad, and tries to rescue him. And we end up with water leaking on carpets. We end up with fires starting. We end up with, Bill nearly getting electrocuted, but David stops him from falling. It's just all this sort of, what would you say, slapstick, crazy, craziness, crazy concept. This can only happen in the 80s. I don't think they'll ever remake this because it's not a great concept. It's like a hippie wrote the script for this, warning us of the dangers of modern living, of gadgets, of all these things that make life easier, that they're coming for us, they're coming to get us, beware, they're all dangerous. So that's what you're getting here. And I think if you want a good scary family in-house scary flick from the 80s, check out Poltergeist. And directed by Steven Spielberg, not Toby Hooper. And Pulse, what can I say? You might get a laugh out of it if you have a drink or two. Late night movie. I'd give this a 2 out of 5. Yeah, it's the best I can do. 2.5. Yeah, I think just the whole concept isn't good. But look, it's well directed. You got some good actors here. You might get a giggle out of this. Late at night when there's nothing else on. Fred MacGuffin's reviewed Pulse.